From deciding to quit his job as a counsellor to writing his amazing life-altering books, James Redfield, author of the Celestine Prophecy series of books, has come so far. With over 20 million books sold and on the New York Times bestseller list for years, James Redfield is committed to sharing his life-altering ways. We are so fortunate to have him here with us today. James, thank you so much for your time and welcome to Australia.
Thank you. It's really nice to be here.
James, what gave you the final confidence to quit your job as a counsellor and pursue writing?
You know, I was driven so long to write, and you know, the pieces of the puzzle were coming together, and it was just time to do it. Yeah, I found a way I could do some private practice, and so it's time to jump in and get it done. You know, it's just the stars lined up.
Did you have any fears at the time, and what pushed you past them?
Well, the fears were, you know, should I really cash in my retirement account and spend it all, you know, while I wrote this book? And so it's some economic concern, but you know, the overriding feeling that I had was that, you know, this is important. I need to get it out. So, and it worked out.
And how long did it take you to write the Celestine Prophecy?
Well, about 2.5 years, including some testing that I did with the book, almost the way you would test a movie. You know, I would give the book out, and I would get feedback from people, strangers and friends, to see what worked and what's confusing, because it is a psychologically oriented book, you know. So what I did was I just tested it for almost a year, and until what I got was no questions, like, boy, this really impacted me. Can I take a copy to my friend? And I thought that was a pretty good sign. And when I got that, I knew that, you know, maybe the book was capturing something that spoke to people.
Do you feel that the book's format and insights were divinely guided?
Well, sure. You know, in the sense that, you know, the whole journey for me was one of remarkable synchronicities. You know, these mysterious coincidences that bring people, you know, to me when I had a question about how to get the thing done. For instance, when I was ready to publish, you know, try to create my own company to publish so I could get it out faster, I didn't know how I could do that, because, you know, at that point, you know, you had to have someone that had some creative, some computer savvy in terms of packaging the books, the book covers, and getting all that in to send to the printer to get the books. You know, it's complicated. So at that time, not many people did it. But yeah, as soon as I started thinking about that and looking for that person, you know, I was walking, actually I was driving down an area where I noticed a new bookstore, and you know, I said, well, you know, I think I'll check that out. Just an intuitive thing. When I got in there and met the owner, it turned out that he was a former manager of, I think, Doubleday Books in New York, and his dream was to open a bookstore and help people package their own books. So those kinds of synchronicities. So, you know, they just happen all the time.
What was the story's inspiration, and why Peru?
Well, the story's inspiration was that you know, I felt like there was a spiritual renaissance occurring across cultures everywhere. That people had the vocabulary because of the breadth of the human potential movement and the psychology of growth and fulfillment and this whole idea of self-actualization, and I felt that set the stage for understanding this renaissance that's really a spiritual happening. So yeah, this during some study I did in graduate school, you know, all this occurred to me, and so the inspiration was to try to get a book out that captured what it was we were discovering as we, in mass, sort of archetypically, were looking for this deeper spiritual experience. And of course, Peru is the site of an adventure parable of that kind. It was perfect because it meant so much to me, and it smacks, just the energy of Peru smacks of the spiritual mystery of existence.
Did you always feel destined to write the books you have?
You know, I felt after a time, I felt destined to write something. And writing was something that I've always done all my life, and it seemed a natural kind of gift for me to use. And I knew I was going to write something. You know, I had this sense I wanted to write something, which quickly became this sense that my life was unfolding in the way that seemed to suggest that that's exactly what I could do. And the rest of it was to fill in the content. You know, what did I want to say?
What has been the biggest challenge in your life, and what has got you through it?
You know, I think the challenge was to stay true to the vision for that. At a time when you know, I didn't have a lot of full support for it, and that probably was my fault. I didn't cultivate that support. But you know, the trauma was to sort of depart from what was the norm in terms of career path, and just stop it and dedicate myself to writing for a while. And that was only traumatic in the sense that it was, you know, really sticking my neck out. But what got me through it was the fact that, you know, every time I would start to give up, there would be one of these synchronicities that seemed to be opening the way for it. And so I just relied on that, followed it out.
What has been the biggest joy?
It's just seeing the way the book has been passed along, and that the book means so much to a lot of people, that they sort of took ownership of it and passed it along all over the world. And you know, that's real affirming, you know, and it's certainly joyful that I could make a contribution.